One wide receiver you have here at wide receiver 15 is Mike Evans going up against the New Orleans Saints. The world famous matchup between Mike Evans matched up against Marshon Lattimore. This is something that is talked about everywhere when it comes to when the Bucks meet the Saints. It's the rivalry between Lattimore and Evans. Last year we saw the push heard around the world, the shoving match between Leonard Fournette. Was that last year or this year?
That was this
Wait
year.
a second. That was this. Oh my goodness. Time is going slow and fast all at the same time.
Three times. It's happened.
Yeah, they've battled it out on many occasions. But when you look at fantasy and Mike Evans against Marshon Lattimore is keeping Mike Evans in check. Mike Evans is averaging less than 10 points per game, 10 PPR points per game when matched up against Marshon Lattimore. His last game against Marshon Lattimore, he had 9 points. That was earlier on this season, like we talked about last year. He had a 12-point game and a 2-point game against Marshon Lattimore. Where are you at with your confidence in Mike Evans this week in that tough matchup?
Yeah, there's no denying that over the course of the years, when you look at the success of Mike Evans and what he's been able to do with, the 1,000-yard seasons and his fantasy production, pretty much being a back-end wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 his entire career, that Marshon Lattimore's gotten the better of him. If you look at the numbers, there's been 2 games where Mike Evans has really produced, and they've met each other, I believe, 10 times or 11 times now.
11 times.
There's been 2 games. There's been one for 147 and a touchdown. And then there's been a game for 4 for 86, which I thought I give Mike Evans that win because I thought he had a good day there. Outside of that, it's been Marshon Lattimore. And when you got a player that's played 11 times and the players pretty much shut you down for 9 games, I'm leaning the side of a Marshon Lattimore, if he's healthy and playing, that Mike Evans is going to have to fall in some people's rankings, and you just can't project him to have a great day. And you put out on top of that the offense in Tampa Bay hasn't looked the same this year. Chris Godwin's emergence has come over the past few weeks. He looks like he's getting back to fully healthy, and I think Tom Brady likes Chris Godwin, kind of fits his style, being able to throw over the middle. I look for another tough day here for Mike Evans. Doesn't mean he can't produce, but you have to temper those expectations. I can see a day where he is 4 for 60, and if he gets in the end zone, boom, you have yourself a nice back end 1, top end 2. But if he doesn't get in the end zone, then there's nothing there. It's just you hope he's putting up flex numbers at that point, and it's the week that you lose. But you're not benching him. This is what I said. I'll say this at every 11 matchups. I don't care if you'd have told me before. Well, he might only get 1 point for 14 yards. I don't care. You're not benching Mike Evans unless you are in a very shallow league and you have huge guys that you can play over him. You can't bench Mike Evans because that upside is 147 and 2 touchdowns. Like, you know what I mean? So my perspective, and I've said this over and over again, upside will far outweigh the downside of a player based on a matchup. And I know it sucks when you have a history that says 9 times Marshon Lattimore got him, but I'm going to trust that Mike Evans is good enough to get the job done. And I'll live with the consequences or the results of whatever happens. So you're not benching him. You're just tempering your expectations. Maybe if he's projected normally for 18, 20 points, you're thinking, okay, I might only get 14 to 16 points from him.
Yeah, and that's really – I am on mute. Oh, I'm not on mute. Okay. I thought I muted myself and then realized I thought I didn't unmute.
Like, wait, if you're on mute, how am I hearing you?
Whoa. Mike Evans, though, over the past few weeks has not been that great either when you look at it. Wide receiver 75 last week, wide receiver 39 the week prior before the bye, wide receiver 33 in week 9. It has been tough sledding for Mike Evans over the past few weeks. He's got only only 2 top 12 finishes, and then 1, 2. So he's got four top 24 finishes this year for Mike Evans. That's where we're at with him this year. And it also reflected this week in your rankings because you have Chris Godwin higher this week. You have him at 10. So more of a Chris Godwin day, less of a Mike Evans day expected against Marshon Lattimore this week, and Mike Evans has not been producing. So really, you're concerned with your Mike Evans stock. But that does it for your.
You said how many? You said he has how many top what?
He has 4. Only 4 finishes in the top 24 on the season.
4 finishes in the top. Okay, so 4 as a wide receiver 2. He's only
at least a wide receiver 2. He's got as a wide receiver 1. He's finished in the top 12 once or twice, I should say, twice, and he's finished in the top 24 twice. So he's got 2 finishes as wide receiver 2, 2 finishes as wide receiver 1.
That's got to be a little concerning for you. I think normally it's a little bit more than that, but Mike Evans is that type of player where he's very up and down as far as big games, not big games. Like he'll have you some 3-point games and then he blows up for 25, and then he'll have like a 10-point game and then a 3-point game and a 5-point game. He's done that over the course of his career. He did it last year a few times. He had single digits 4 times last year. Didn't score over 15 points, I think 4 or 5 times last year. So there is that with Mike Evans. I think at the end of the year, what you expect from Mike Evans is I'm going to look up and he's going to be fantasy wide receiver 10 through 15. And
he's only okay with that. He's only had a consistent stretch of wide receiver, of at least a wide receiver 2 in 2 games last year. So yeah. if that makes any sense. So like stringing along top 24 numbers for Mike Evans.
He doesn't
happen often. Yeah, it didn't happen often last year, and this year it hasn't happened. He's only been a wide. It's the same thing as last year. It's the same thing as last year where he's had 2 straight weeks of top 24 play, and then the rest it's just been boom, 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 bouncing back and forth. Good shit on the Mike Evans talk there, buddy. Good shit.